Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzzcast. We've been getting so many new listeners and subscribers recently. We really appreciate you all so much. If you haven't already subscribed, take a second and click the subscribe button and make sure you get notified of our latest Buzzcast every week. Today, we've invited Robbie Wilson, president of the NSREA, or the National Society of Real Estate Appraisers, to speak with us. He and Joan Trice, CEO of Allterra Group, will be discussing appraisal organizations and coalitions and why it's important for appraisers to be active in these organizations with their peers. Joan, take it away.
Thank you, Jim, and welcome, Robbie. I understand you're in the great big town of Dallas, Texas.
That's right. Thank you for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. So I just had a birthday yesterday, Robbie.
Oh, happy birthday.
I know I don't look like it, but I was looking at the date your organization was founded in 1956, and I think that's a really good year.
Oh, that must be your birthday then. Maybe I should have said that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know I only look like I'm in my 40s, but
you even look younger than that.
Yeah, why thank you. We're going to make this a very long interview. Tell us a little bit about the organization and what you stand for and what your current initiatives might be.
Okay, like you indicated, NSREA was organized, and that's the word used by the founding fathers. It was organized in 1956 in the state of California, but it was incorporated in the state of Michigan. So just from reading the history, then at that time I was not here yet. A couple of years I came. So it was organized in Michigan. The mission of NSREA is to provide exceptional services, for its members in the core area of education, designation, training, mentoring, communication, and recertification, which is some of the things that we've been doing quite a bit of lately. And obviously business development. That's the mission. And our history came from, I don't need to go deep into that, but in the history of this country, where Black appraisers were not allowed into the mainstream organization, that's what prompted, that was the impetus.
Really?
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to join the other trade associations?
That's what I was told. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Right.
That's shameful. That's news. I frankly never thought about it before,
Right.
Robbie. So.
Yeah, that's what triggered it.
Wow. Okay. So how many members do you currently have?
Our members is, in the thousands. When we're small because, appraisers as a community are small. I mean, let's just take Texas where I'm at, there are only 5,200 appraisers. No, we're in the thousands, in the lower thousands.
Okay,
right.
So do you have any concept of how large the Black appraiser population is, what the total pie looks like?
No, I don't, but I read something a long time ago because I'm in education myself. As you know, or if you don't, I'm saying it. I've taught nationally. I'm a USUP instructor. So those in Memphis who may be viewing this from Memphis, maybe know me in Nashville. But anyway, the point there is I've read a lot of articles, not a lot, but maybe 2 or 3 articles. So the population of Blacks in appraisal range from somewhere between 5 to 8%, which doesn't represent the population itself, which is about 13%.
Right. Yeah.
So if we take the credential number, about 90,000 credential members, so I'm estimating less than 1,800, Black appraisers in the country.
75,000, yeah,
Right.
That's not such a great representation.
Right.
Well, as you know, there's a big push right now on how to attract minorities and women into the profession. And frankly, we just need people, period. We're a shrinking population. So what do you think are the biggest barriers for minorities in entering the profession?
The biggest barrier from the feedback that I'm receiving from members is sponsorship. So PIREA, with the new PIREA kicking in January 1, that's going to make a big difference. It's going to help a lot, but that's the biggest barrier, not just for minority appraisers, but for all appraisers, finding a sponsor or finding sponsorship to mentor them, train them, that's the biggest, it's the same challenge for all groups, and it's more impacted in the minority community, I think.
Right. Well, I agree with you. And I think the biggest barrier to entry is the mentorship process. Other professions like the CPA, you go take the education, you pass the exam, and you're a CPA.
It's true.
And you go forth and you work. You can either work on your own, or you can associate with a firm and get appropriate training. And then it's sort of buyer beware. If you're going to hire that person, you're going to do the due diligence. And maybe if it's something complex, you don't engage them without them working with a mentor. But then appraisal firms or banks or whomever who want to employ these people, they have a license and they're not in that sort of stigma of being labeled a trainee for a very long period of time. I think that trainee status is not helpful to the profession at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just to piggyback on that, even in appraisal, I think only real property appraisers are restricted or required to go through the sponsorship program. I mean, business appraisers or personal property appraisers, as we know, there are several disciplines within the appraisal profession.
Right.
Even those in business valuation and real property valuation don't go through what we go through. I mean, we meaning those of us in real property.
Right.
So those in personal property valuation or business appraisers do exactly what you just described for accountants. They get their education and they work with somebody and they get experience as they go along. Yeah. So I don't know what the solution is, but
it's a real challenge. Well, let's break and turn it over to Jim for a commercial message, and then we'll come back and continue our conversation.
Okay, that's cool.
Thanks, Joan. As the provider of innovative appraisal solutions for more than 40 years, ACI is a trusted industry leader. Join the thousands of appraisers in many of the largest appraisal companies that use ACI software in the US and Canada to optimize their business. The ACI One Individual Plan is available today for $649 and includes forms and rules, sketch software, unlimited location and flood maps, public record data, ACI Open House, and more. For more information, visit aciweb.com.
Thank you, Jim. So, Robbie, I'm sure you've been following some of the news articles about consumers complaining that they have been the victim of racial bias from those in the appraisal community. So, Robbie, I'm sure you've been watching all the news articles. The one that comes to mind is the Abena Horton case in Jacksonville, Florida, where the accusation is that there was racial bias and she had two appraisals. One came in much lower than what she expected and one came in higher. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is pretty much similar to some of the thoughts our members have. Basically, the way we look at it is we are trained appraisers. Just the profession, at least this is what we're educated to do, or this is how we're trained. So bottom line is the state needs to enforce the law, because appraisers by training cannot be biased. Correct. So what we tell our members, or when we get complained, or when I get complained, I tell them that I tell the public, put it this way, I tell the public if they feel that there's any bias, or they feel like the appraiser is not credible, they should file a complaint with the state board and let the state board look into it, and if there's any merit to it, then the state board will pick it up from there and move forward, because I know that will be the case in Texas. If a complaint is filed and there's merit to it, and then the state will look into it. So that's number one. That's what we tell that's what we tell, because of the training that we're supposed to. I know training is ideal, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody practice what they're trained to do, but appraisal profession cannot tolerate any form of discrimination because our ethics says that. So what me personally, I have not experienced going to people's house when I'm acting as an appraiser. Me personally, I have not, maybe it's happened, but I just haven't felt that directly. Right. But I have members that have, but I have experienced not doing appraisal discrimination, but I've experienced, maybe through other, just in practicing, not necessarily going to people's house, but, dealing with the state, et cetera. There is discrimination. There's no doubt about that, as far as I'm concerned. There's been a lot of documentation about that. You cited the example with the Florida one. There's also another article with New York Times that also describes a similar situation, So, but all we can do, or what we tell people to do, is to file a complaint, because most people are not aware that there's even a regulatory agency that deals with real property appraisers in their state. So we want to expose the public, to, if they feel any bias or they feel the appraiser is not credible, to file a complaint with the state and let them look into it, because enforcement needs to take place.
No, absolutely. I think the unfortunate thing is the regulatory structure that we have, though, like in the case of what happened in Jacksonville, fortunately, she took it upon herself to engage another lender and sort of start the process over. So she was a sophisticated borrower who kind of knew what to do. Not everybody, let's say you're a first-time home buyer, you might actually lose a deal and not get the house because the appraisal fell through. And so reporting it to a state regulator, it's a little too late. I lost my house. I wasn't able to buy it because the appraisal came in low. And that would be, unfortunate, because there's just not that immediate feedback from the state process, which is going to take months.
I agree with that. One of the things that NSREA, as you know, NSREA is an affiliate of NARAB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. One of the things that we're discussing with NARAB, is the parent organization at this point. We have several affiliates within the NARAB family. So we're trying to incorporate at the, there's a lot of, sometimes people hold like the home buyer seminar, for those who are looking to buy homes. So we're trying to incorporate at that level where people are just doing home buyer seminar, first-time home buyers, to educate them as to some of the things I alluded to earlier, which is when they buy a home, one of the things, education that we NSREA want to provide is when they are buying a home as a first-time buyer, we want to educate them to say, if you run into this process where you feel like the appraisal is not properly done, then they should file a complaint, or they should seek us out and we can guide them.
Right. No, that makes perfectly good sense. Well, let's break again for a minute. Jim?
Thanks, Joan. Appraisers, if you've grown frustrated with endlessly pursuing new appraisal work and not reaping any of the benefits, Metro West is here to help. They understand and work to alleviate the pain points commonly felt by appraisers to enable personal and financial growth for their staff. After all, they've been owned and operated by appraisers since the company opened in 1987. Metro West Appraisal is an equal opportunity employer, and they're always looking for certified residential real estate appraisers to join their team. Visit metrowestappr.com/careers or email careers@metrowestappr.com. Joan, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Jim. So, Robbie, I know personally a number of minority appraisers who are not members and aren't aware of your association. So, hopefully, this podcast will change that and you're going to be a rock star. So for the minority appraisers out there who want to join the National Society of Real Estate Appraisers, how would they go about doing that?
Well, thank you for bringing that up. They can go to NSREA, that's N National, S Society, and then Real Estate Association, NSREA, NSREA.org. That's our website. And then we have different levels of membership. Our rates are very competitive, or inexpensive, I would say. It's just $250 a year to join. And then,
oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
So, and that's joining. Yeah. So yeah, they can go to, and they can read more about our history there. They can learn more about the how NSREA was founded, what we discussed earlier. So yes, they can go to our website, NSREA, NSREA.org.
Okay. And can they email you personally and chat with you if they have questions about joining?
Yes, they can do that too. My email is rwilson@advancedappraisalgroup.com. So advanced, there's no D at the end. It's ADVANCE appraisalgroup.com.
Okay.
So it's rwilson@advancedappraisalgroup.com.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time today. And we hope to see you maybe at Valuation Expo this fall when we are able to regroup and come out of our COVID quarantine. And so I'd love to meet you in person.
Yeah, I'll be there. Have you set a date yet?
No, we have some tentative dates in late September. It'll be in Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, it's just once I know the date, I plan on being there.
All right. Well, we'll start announcing that within a couple of weeks here. Well, thank you again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the invitation. Thank you, Jim. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
In uncertain times, you need a certain partner. You don't have to sacrifice top-notch coverage for an affordable premium. Intercorp has all the options and is sure to have just the right one to fit your specific needs. They provide the appraisal profession with competitive, best-in-class E&O coverage solutions nationwide. Having served the insurance needs of the industry for more than 25 years, Intercorp understands the risks you face every day. Whether you're an individual appraiser, appraisal firm, residential, commercial, or an AMC, visit intercorpinc.net to get a competitive quote today. Thank you, Joan and Robbie. We really appreciate your time, and it was so interesting to learn about NSREA. Everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do that. That's how you get notified. We appreciate your time and have a great day.